we cannot say for sure that all those who worked with Professor Iwu were bad people. They didn't do a fantastic job. The government and those in authority, that's the truth, must have looked into the books and see that some people, yes, were great and fantastic. Otherwise, in the first place, he wouldn't have been given the ambassadorial appointment.
There are compensation. There are ways to compensate. A pat on the back for a job well done.
A job well done.
And because the election threw up a desired result, the result that the government in power wanted. And so let me give you an example. You say not everybody that worked with Professor Morrissey, when Jega came, he made an allegation that some of the REC, I agree that some of the REC I inherited are not fit to be REC. Let me, if I may use that word, because they have been alleged to be biased, but I have no powers to sack them. So what I will do, we'll manage them and scrutinize.
But then, if you look at that statement on the strength of it, if you say they've been alleged and based on allegations, they're not fit.
Alleged, because by virtue of our laws, you cannot, since they've not been proved.
No, but if at the time the law had not been amended.
No, I'm talking about for you to say a man is corrupt. Even if I catch you by virtue of Section 36,
I get that.
It's an allegation until proven otherwise.
There you go. So if the law says
competent jurisdiction makes a pronouncement, even if I know, I can work with you. I know that look, this man, he collects gratification for any and everything. But it's still an allegation.
Okay, but
so this is somebody. This is somebody
right,
who is working, who had worked with them. We all remember. We all agree that Jega also was a consultant to INEC at this time, and so if coming from a man at that level, even if it's an allegation, it should not be. We should not be wished away.
But this alteration of Section 156 is very, very important to everyone. If you say they have been confirmed by the Assembly, and that's the news everyone is getting, how come they didn't look into this particular amended constitution, especially with regard to Section 156, that now specifically said that you mustn't be a member of any political party? Because if you say someone who has been so visible as a speaker of an assembly in a state would also be getting an appointment as REC, what does that say of us as a people?
Let me even go to, before I answer your question directly, I want to read from paragraph.
What section?
No, if you go to the third schedule.
All right.
Third schedule.
14.
Yes, paragraph 14(1). The Independent National Electoral Commission shall comprise the following members. And then if you go to subparagraph 2, C, B of that paragraph 14, it says they shall be persons of unquestionable integrity. Persons of unquestionable integrity.
Is that a subjective test?
Yes. If you conduct an election, and the outcome of that election, the first one, the second one, the third one, is a series of serious litigation. Let's start from even the Delta State rerun. Some people had alleged that, look, since Dr. Gabriel Ada conducted the rerun and the matter was still pending in court, that it was against the principles of natural justice for him to conduct the April election. Because even at the tribunal, when a judge gives a ruling in a matter and the matter goes on appeal and the matter is remitted back to the tribunal, that judge will no longer be empowered to hear that matter. A new panel will be set up to determine that matter on the allegation that the one that you determined before had been some questions, had been called to question upstairs. Here you have a man that had conducted an election. You're saying yes, because the tribunal had not made a pronouncement. The tribunal had not let me use the word, tribunal had not nullified the election, and so because the tribunal had not nullified the election, the man is still credible to conduct another election in that same spot, that same state.
But it looks like some kind of logic for some of those who...
For people that want the desired result. But according to the principle of natural justice, equity and good conscience, fair play, the man's credibility is in question. That is why, according to Lord Denny, when a judge sits on trial, the judge is on trial. So as a resident electoral commissioner, once you are overseeing an affair, an election, you are also on trial in the eyes of the public.
But that's...
So one would have expected, that is why in the law, they are presumed
to be
non-partisan.
All right, take a look at this.
But the situation where an umpire is already, we all know in okay, let's take the Premiership for example. Let me quickly digress. Premiership, for example, any match that is officiated by Howard Webb, any Man U match that is officiated by Howard Webb, there's always allegation of it will not be fair because Howard Webb is
even though the FA doesn't think so.
Even though
the English FA never thinks.
Why was Howard Webb not allowed to ref the Man City match?
No, it's an aside. The FA did their thing.
Exactly.
And, that was just their own test.
These are issues they are beginning to look at. You just cannot.
No, but what about when we've seen election petition tribunals? They give judgments. We see dissenting voices. Out of 5 of them, 2 are dissenting, 3 are okay. They give that ruling, and then they go on appeal. For instance, if they go on appeal and then the matter is overturned, what happens to that judge? Can he then be said to have questionable character or integrity based on that judgment?
Matters like that. Sometimes some judgments are political. You look at them, you say, no, this is not the law. This is a political judgment.
But the judge goes on.
And let me give you an example. The Yaradua's judgment. The Supreme Court agreed. The 5 judges of the Supreme Court agreed on almost every point, every issues, every ground raised on appeal. But the only dissenting issue was that the serialization of the ballot papers, that it did not substantially affect the outcome of the election. On that issue now, can you then say a man that conducted an election, the Supreme Court had agreed that, look, the elections were flawed in some areas, but that it did not substantially.
But again, Chimley asked a question when we started all of this. Can this be undone?
Yes,
can this be undone?
It can, because they've been cleared by the Senate. The president can still, based on these allegations, that look, some people are alleged to be card-carrying members.
Even if INEC doesn't complain? Can INEC complain, for instance?
INEC, these are issues that the biased will be read into this complaint. If INEC comes out to say, look, we cannot accept some of these nominations, even Jega had complained.
If you say based on his records, based on what we've seen, we think that INEC our integrity will be impugned if
established by law and members of INEC appointed by the president, subject to confirmation by the Senate.
Yes, but they can make recommendations and suggestions.
They cannot be seen to be complaining against their members.
Really?
Yes, they can't.
So why did Jega say, well, these members are not? They don't seem to. They have questionable integrity at that time.
The complaint is like your concern. These are my concerns. These are my fear.
But they can raise concerns.
Yes, they can raise concerns.
So why don't they raise concerns on this?
They had raised concerns that look, these are the REC that were nominated, that he inherited, that he raised concerns about. That look, some of these people, I cannot vouch for their integrity.
They raised concerns recently on this matter?
Wait, you sometimes we shouldn't treat these issues as look, INEC should be crying. INEC had raised this concern. It now behoves on us to take it up from there. INEC had raised concern and said, look, I am not too sure about these people. But I don't have the power to sack them. Since I don't have the power to sack them, the president that has the power to sack them should do that.